Ray, obviously the end of the homestand here in Las Vegas.
Right.
Another nice night. Just what was it like from your point of view the whole night?
Yeah, I thought everybody came to fight. Well, when I say everybody, there was one fight where I felt, I had to have a few words with these two guys because, and I don't really want to name them, but I'm like, I pay you guys to fight. It's called a fight game. And when people tune in, they want to see a fight. They don't want to see guys dancing around in the cage. You know what I mean? And so that was the only fight I was a little bit disappointed about. But outside of that, I thought everybody brought the fight tonight. It was good. The Sadabu ended the night with a finish, which I think we did. I think we had 5 finishes tonight. So all in all, it was good. The showcase fight was also a good fight. Those two came out, and I knew that was going to be a good match, but I didn't realize that they were going to come out and just really, stand and go toe-to-toe. But so all in all, I thought it was a great night. I'm a little bit sad that now I got to travel again because the first round, Tanya and I have to travel again. But again, like I said, I thought all in all was a great night.
To talk about the tournament a little bit, obviously both Magomed, Sadabu performed well, got finishes in their fights.
Right.
I mean, just going forward, how do you even begin to match these guys who are all performing well, and now you got a very big job jockeying for positions?
Right, exactly. In most cases, the way the matchups are done, it's I want to say at least 90%, 99%. It's winners versus losers, right? And every now and then it depends on how the other two wins, that kind of stuff. Then we would match up a winner and a winner. But it really shouldn't be that hard because again, the names that you just mentioned, Sadabu, Umlatov, Magomed, and so on. Those guys all finished fights, and I think tonight it kind of showed. It was obvious who is leading that division. In the lightweights, we had, for example, a couple of guys fell out. Actually, the same also with the welterweight. Magomed Kidimov ended up fighting an alternate due to Abdulaziz being hurt, and so he'll be back in the second round. But as well as Don Madge, he was also supposed to fight. But I think the in terms of the matchups, it shouldn't be that difficult to kind of place it. And now the losers really have to, step up and bring the A game. Otherwise, they're not making the playoffs.
Final question. Obviously, the Shane Burgos fight, fans kind of let you know how they felt about it. However, still an exciting guy. The race isn't over for him. Where do you feel like you guys are going to go next in terms of matching him up?
That fight, I was actually quite, if anything, I was impressed with OAM, with Olivier, because I expected Olivier to come out and then go bing, 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 shoot, bing, 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 shoot, like right throughout. But he came out and, he displayed obviously that he could stand and, go to toe with him at times, which was impressive. He was landing jabs as well, uppercuts here and there. So, yeah, I think he impressed me the most tonight in terms of how he fought that fight. Of course, second and third round, again, he was standing with him and then led to his takedowns and whatnot. But, yeah, no, Shane, we got to, I think it's just matching him up with another fighter that's willing to stand with him. And we'll go from there. But we'll just have to wait and see once I sit down with the team and, look at the matchups and see where we go.
Right. Earlier today, OAN, talked about, the champions beating the greedy UFC signees. What does that tell you when it comes to, the kind of talent that PFL has to offer?
Oh, it just tells us that listen, we had, like I said last week, we have some great fighters. The UFC has some great fighters, but it just tells us that we also have great fighters in the PFL. You know what I mean? We all know, you guys know, the UFC have great fighters as well. But the fact that some of these guys are able to compete with some of the fighters from over there, it's really satisfying to see that they're at that level, right? And so, again, we have great fighters. The UFC have great fighters.
Last question: who would your MVP of the evening be?
Well, that's a tough one. It might go to the fight that I think that kind of stood out the most was actually the showcase fight where they just stood and banged. Again, the guys that came out and finished that are in the season, I thought they did great, but no one's MVP yet until they make the playoffs or make the finals.
I had the pleasure of speaking to Sadabu earlier this week before this fight. He attributes so much of the success to you. He said he's looked up to you since a teenager. He's worked through all these years. It's been a pleasure. What does it mean to you to hear and receive such praise from one of the best fighters in your promotion?
I don't know how to put it. It's humbling because I've been in the game a long time, and then to find out that Sadabu has watched my career come up as he was coming up the ranks, and then see him become a world champion himself. It's really exciting to see someone like that, because Sadabu is not only just a humble champion, but he's just a nice guy. He's kind. I think that's probably the thing that stands out the most for me, is that he's just a humble gentleman, and the fact that he's kind of used me as a role model, if you will. It's humbling to me. So, and it's, again, my job is to not only put on good fights, but at the same time, if I can inspire a fighter not only from my career, but also from what I do now, that in itself, it's rewarding, because just to see these guys not only fight at the highest level, but also are champions themselves, it's really humbling and wonderful to hear that, they're able to take something with them and be able to kind of continue and elevate their game. Thank you.
Last week you told me that you're with talks with the teams to try to bring the championship home. Have talks gotten any closer with that, or is it still something far away in sight?
As in Vegas?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to, how do I put this? All I'm saying, let me put it like this. Australia and New Zealand, we're coming. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And in these past 3 weeks of this Vegas residency, there was many great events, many great performances. Which one out of all 3 weeks you think stood out to you the most?
That's a good question. I thought every show had its own element, and there were fighters that stood out amazingly tonight, and right throughout the first round of the season. But if I had to choose which one it was, it would have to be tonight.
Ray, let me piggyback off of Harold's question. With this new venue, with the whole, used to be the Hard Rock, now it's the Virgin Hotel.
Right.
How has the experience been? Is it something you'll come back to? Or
Yeah. No, absolutely. They've been absolutely wonderful to deal with. And of course the venue, there's not a bad seat in the house. So, 100%, obviously we got to put in dates earlier and see if we can make it work. But yeah, there's something that we want to do, obviously every year, is at least come to Vegas for either the first round of the season or the second round of the season, regular season that is, or the playoffs. You know what I mean? So, or even the championship. So it just depends on where our roster is. I mean, our dates and whatnot in terms of finding out what's available and what times and they're available for us to be here.
Excellent. And we kind of got the dessert before the main dish, with the main card
Right.
coming on. Is this like a one-time thing or something you'll tinker with in the future that gave you results tonight?
To be honest with you, I mean, if the truth be told, I actually don't like it this way. I want to see the build up to the main events and whatnot. Even though that every fight matters in the season, still that build up is what do you call it? It just has a good feel to it. Does that make sense?
That's traditional.
Yeah, exactly, traditional. But yeah, if it was up to me, that would be the last time we do that. But the network's the network, and so we got to go with what we got.
But that's great that you guys were able to kind of adjust to that, and that says more to the PFL that you can, hey, we're gonna fly, we'll make it happen, we'll do what we need.
Right. And that's just it. We're team players, and but make sure it doesn't happen too much.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Great night of fights. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Last question.
Another one for me. Jake Paul's been very vocal about his talks with Nate Diaz, and obviously his fight in the boxing ring got confirmed. Could we be seeing Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz in the PFL Smart Cage in the pay-per-view series?
That's very possible. Again, Jake has been, like I said, he doesn't post too much of his MMA training, but he does train MMA from time to time. Right now, he's getting ready for that boxing fight. But I think if Jake wins that fight, then he's got to fight Nate in the PFL cage. You know what I mean? So that would be wonderful to see.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.